Welcome to Chochom on the Daf. Your sponsor Lunishma Sami Akashom Le'Abbas Yitzchok. We're holding Basra Daf Yud Beis. The Gemara in the end of Mudalef is the famous Gemara regarding the koyach of the Chochomim. The Gemara says, "Yoshachar be'samigdash nitlo nevuah min nevim v'nitlo lechachomim." And the Gemara goes on to explain, "Ava b'shnitlo min nevim min chachomim loy nitlo." And the Gemara goes on to add, "V'chacham odiv min Navi." The Chochom is even greater than a Navi. And Rashi explains, what does it mean, Nitla ben Nevim? It was taken from the Nevim, she'einam chachamim. But from the chachamim, it was not taken away. So the way the mashmos of Rashi is, Rashi says like this. There is a nevuah that was by people that maybe were not chacham. There are some people that were not chacham, they still get a nevuah. That was taken away. Today, the only way to connect a nevuah is only someone who's a chacham. And the chacham is the one who can connect a nevuah. But the Ramban here argues, and the very famous Ramban, the Lashon Ramban that everybody quotes. The Ramban goes on and says, Pshat is like this. Even though the nevuah was taken away, the Mara and Chaz were taken away, but not the Chochma. And the Lashon of the Ramban is, so the Ramban is telling us that there's two types of nevuahs. There's the nevuah, which is a mara nevuah, mara of chazon. The way a Navi is able to see things, that was taken away. But the nevuah of chachamim, that's ruach hakodesh asher bekirbam, is the understanding that they have in their heart, in their mind. That's something that was not taken away. And to explain the chiluk a little bit more, we have the Maharal in Gevuras Hashem in his first Hakdama. He brings our Gemara and he explains the chiluk. And he says there's a very big difference between a Navi and a Chochom. A Navi is called a Roye or a Choyze. Chazoy Nishayah, Lashon Re'iyo. Even though we're not talking about the physical sight that we have, the physical vision that we can see. We're talking about the Re'iyo of Nevuah. It's a different type of vision. It's a more spiritual vision. But it's still a vision. It's still something that has to do with sight. Has to do with re'iyah. You're taking the eyes and you're looking at something in a more spiritual and higher spiritual level, but you have to see it with your eyes. You have to be able to connect to that thing that you're seeing. You're able to connect to it. It's something outside of you and you're able to connect to it. But a Chochom, says the Maharal, it's not a re'iyah. You don't see anything. You understand something. The Chochom is taking something from his own seichel. He's taking something and he's understanding it. Mikoyach ha-seichel, as the Ramban says, Peruach HaKodesh Bekir boy. It's his own intelligence. He's able to elevate his intelligence to hasagas which are beyond where he is. But it's his intelligence that is greater than nevuah, because nevuah is not what you have in your own intelligence. It's something that you see from the outside. And this, my Rabbi Ramosh Shapir Zatzal always used to explain that this is the difference between Re'iyah and Shmiyah. We know that when you understand something, you use the Lashon Shemeya. Even in today's Hebrew, you say Ani Shomea, means I understand. You're using the Gemara, Toshma, come listen. Listen means come understand. Have a Havana. The Shmiyah is Lashon Havana. The Chachamim get something with a Shmiyah. Shmiyah, what is a Shmiyah? Someone you hear something. He hears many verbs, many tones, and he has to put it together to understand that there's a word being saying over here. The person has to use his own intelligence to understand what he hears. But seeing, the sight is a one split moment. You see something in your eyes, right away you have the picture. It's not something that person has to come and connect together. It's less of a pe'ula of the intelligence of a person. The Chochom is a shemeya. The Navi is a roy. And very similarly, he says, in many places, we're going to mention one place, is we see Silayla Oisnum Vov. So he says, we know that the Arizal was able to get to Hasagas that many of the Nevim were not able to get to. Because what's Pshat? Because the Arizal did not do it with the Nevuah. Nevuah is what you're able to see. Seeing has limitations in this world. You're not able to see everything. It says, to see with your own eyes, there's a limitation where you can see in this world, where you're able to connect to in that way. But understanding, Havana, Tfisa, intelligence, that a person can get to a much higher level of understanding than what you can see. Even in Olam Hazeh, a person can elevate himself to the madrega of understanding. And that's why it says that Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't understand Rabbi Akiva, because the levels of Torah Sheba'al are able to reach higher levels of Torah Shebechtav. And connect to this, what we spoke about in Daf Gimel, like regarding Beis Hamikdash Hasheni, Klapa Beis Hamikdash Harishon. And this is something that many of the Sfarim speak about, that this Nekudo, and all say it in a very similar way. But just to end, I just want to bring the Chasam Sofer in Tshuva. The last Tshuva in Orach Chaim is a Tshuva that Chasam Sofer wrote to the Maritz Chayes. And B'toich HaDevarim, when he's saying these things, you see that Chasam Sofer is going with the same Mahalach. But he adds one more thing, because one thing is a little hard to understand in our Gemara. Our Gemara is telling us that a Chochom does have some kind of nevuah. And Gemara brings a raya, the Gavur Rabbah says something, you hear that he was mechaven Allah l'Moshe b'Sinai. So what does that mean? Is it intelligence or it's a nevuah? So it says the Chasam Sofer, the idea is when a person is toiling in Torah, he's able to reach hasagas in his understanding of Torah that is not something which is based on his level of understanding. Based on his darga, he should not be able to get to it. But he gets a siyata dishmaya. That's the Ruach HaKodesh we're talking about. The Amelus B'Torah gives him a siyata dishmaya, that his Havana, his Seicha, is able to elevate to much higher dargas than where he's standing right now. And he goes on to explain that what does it mean, Lo nitla nevuah michachamim? That part that a person reaches through Chachma. Through learning Torah, you get to some level of Chiddush that comes from Shamayim. So to summarize, Chacham Odev mi Navi, because when a Navi is a way of understanding things through Re'iyah, through seeing. Chochom is through Seichel. But even through Seichel, you get to levels of Chiddush, the Kavim Shamayim, especially Siyata Dishmaya, especially Ruach HaKodesh Bekirbam, which is Matana, comes from above. That's the Nevuah, which is within the Chochmah. Anybody wants to join the Shomachshava email list, wants to go, please email shomachshava@gmail.com.